Okay, it looks like we are live. Fantastic. I think. Why am I not seeing? Oh, okay, something's refreshing. Alright, fantastic. Here and call Mel. Let's get this blasted. You'll give me just 1 minute to get everything situated, and we'll jump right into it. Alright, Mel's going to be on here in about 5 minutes. For right now, I'm just going to go over what it is we are going to talk about today. I got a little bit of a new setup that'll let you guys see the screen without being too much in my way or too completely different from how I normally do things. No idea where my braces went. It's a little sad. Maybe they're in my bag. In my bag. I'm gonna have to find those before tomorrow. Anyway, so today, looking at what I've got for my asks, got a couple of things. The main thing is going to be going over comics. And that's going to be stuff like layout. I'm going to talk about scripts, which is kind of what Mel's going to be for. She's fan-frickin-tastic. And also talk about angle, mostly to do with camera angles. Sorry if my handwriting's getting a little messy there, just bear with me. As well as, we're going to, at the very end, talk about hands and mermaids, because that's the first ask that I got, and I refuse to do this without answering that first ask, okay? And posing. Posing is the other big one. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is your comic book layout, which for that we're actually going to make a new document. So, looking at this, how dare you buffer on me, live stream, that's really rude. So what I normally have is a 3000 by 3000 square that lets me do whatever the hell I want. And what I did for EOTU is different. I did 2500 by 3500, so I had more of a vertical thing here. This really is, you know, if you like making a square comic, do the square comic. But this is more for me because I prefer the vertical setup for all of this. Make that new. Now, the big thing about this is coming into it with a script. As much fun as it is to just go into and completely bust in the box and crank one out, that is not how this works in the slightest. 99% of the time, you want to start with a script. So with that said, we're going to see if I have any scripts laying around, actually look at and work on. And there is a really high chance that I'm going to be using something from Mel. So let me see if I've got anything in my notes for a comic that we can hash out real quick. This is a good time to talk about, if you guys have questions throughout this, please let me know. Please just, pop in the chat, tell me what's up, and ask, because I can't answer if y'all don't ask. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take the storyboard script from the Crossing the Line animatic we did last year, and we're going to use that for our script. It's going to work out really nice. I feel like normally I set these up way in advance, and I just didn't do that today. So my bad. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up in here and show y'all what this script is right here. So as you can see, what this actually has for the most part is lyrics. Oh, hold on, that's Mel. Hey, let me turn up the volume real quick. Alright, try again.
Oh. Testing, 1 2 1 2.
There you are! Yay! Mel is in the house, y'all. So what I'm going over right now is talk about comic layouts and how to work with scripts. So what I did was I pulled up the Crossing the Line script, which I still have saved on my computer.
You go, girl.
Right? It's one of my favorite projects. It deserves to be in comic form, you know?
Yeah.
Script pulled up right here. And this script, for the most part, was mostly dialogue. Because this was kind of a flash script that we did over the course of like 3 days. Like from start to finish, this took about 2, which is insane. Don't ever do that. You won't be.
Oh my gosh, you're sending me screenshots, like shoot, like those 6-pack of screenshots, and I was like, okay, so do I just crop and then start editing?
Like, I think I completely misunderstood and was like, screenshot, without any regard for, hey, somebody has to actually edit this. So, you know, lessons learned. So anyway, this script is just dialogue. You can see a couple of notes like this one, where it's kind of a direction, where to point at himself, point at Garmadon, and kind of leave his hand outstretched. It was really important to us that we had that moment written down in there, set in stone, and that kind of sums up the script here. Mostly dialogue with a little bit of notes on the action. So
I will get detail.
You 100% did get better with detail. Some of your EOTU scripts after this were fantastic, and it was just completely changing those and making those into a page. Which is another important note to think about. You know, if you are writing your own scripts in such a way that you're not having to rewrite them whenever you're going to comic book form, okay? That is the difficult part, is not only are you having to think as a storyteller, you're having to think as a visual storyteller. And that's a big leap between just straight up fan fiction and comics.
It is.
But I think we manage really well.
I hope.
So the other thing to consider before you start is going to be pacing. How fast you want things to go, and where to slow down and pick up. There's not really a set thing that I prescribe to. I will slow down moments far more than I think the script says, and I will speed up moments far more than the script necessarily dictates. And that's all just to make sure everything's flowing in more of a story fashion. Because this is a reading for comics. You're not just giving a person a pile of words that they can read at their own pace, you're also giving them pictures to kind of help with that imagination. Let's see. So say is we're going to do this little paragraph here where Lloyd busts in, sees his dad, says the first few lines, and hand out, and then Garmadon tells him no, because Lloyd's not allowed to have nice things. So a little bit of...
Script I wish we had that wasn't just in Tumblr DM.
Is it the Echo one?
No. Although that would be nice to have too. I can put that in Discord. No, what I mean is go further back with the comic.
Oh, yeah. The other thing is I would have to pull up Google Docs and scroll through and find something good for that.
No, not the EOTU. I mean the Steven Universe song. Christ, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. Damn. That is in Tumblr DMs, isn't it?
Yeah. Or, well, I don't know if they deleted after 6 months, but yeah.
I don't think they deleted. I think Tumblr is just too crashed to scroll back through it.
Like, would it be like Discord where it's like you type it in and it's just like, I want messages from June 6th, 2016.
You can do that?
Yes.
Oh my
God.
Can. I did not know you.
Yeah, no, you can. Yeah, Discord is great. I used it to like look back on some old Final Space. I was in a Final Space Discord that I don't think exists anymore, but I used it because like the DMs, they're not DMs, but like the chat, there had been so many, and I wanted to find proof that I totally called a character death before it happened.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it was so great.
So one of
not
the
character
cool
death, I was really bummed, but I totally, everybody who was watching the show saw it coming from a mile away. It was just a matter of when it was going to happen, and I was like, episode 6!
One of the cool things that Clip Studio has that I have not made much use of is the ability to just draw frames straight from Clip Studio. In the past at the EOTU, what I typically did was I drew out rectangles, or I used the straight edge line to make out our panels. But hey, if the tools are there, effing use them. There's no shame in using the tools available to you. I'm going to pull up our script again because I've already forgotten what it said.
It's fine. It's not like it's been 6 months.
Right? We only did this in like a weird anxiety-fueled fever over the course of 3 days while we were studying abroad. It's okay. It's cool.
It was just like, oh, this song is really nice. I wonder how would this... Ooh.
It really took off far faster than it had any business doing.
I know, I thought it was just going to be like something funny that I pitched you. I didn't think it'd be like, here we go. Bam, 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 bam.
You greatly underestimate my ability to procrastinate and distract myself from really stressful stuff. So our first line, let's focus on the first line that we're going to do. Lloyd busts through the prison and sees his dad. That is the first thing we're going to draw, is busting through the prison and seeing his dad. Now, because I'm extra, we're going to do this right, which means we're going to have an establishing shot of Cryptarium. What an establishing shot is it typically is a wide shot. Oh, that's so fucking cool. It typically is a very wide shot wherein we are going to get a landscape of Cryptarium, and it takes up a good portion of the page. Just like with other things in design, the rule of thirds is something that should really be applied to your stuff, just to make it look pretty. So, you know, it's going to take up about a third of the page because we want this to be a big establishing shot. Probably a little more than a third because I'm horrible at judging these things. And then we're going to have Lloyd busting in. So we've got Cryptarium. What we're going to have next is we're going to have kind of a shot of... We're going to have a wide shot of the hallway, which is going to have the doors at the very end of it. And I'm going to be up front with y'all right now. I have no idea how this program actually works.
It's the first time for everything.
We're going to do it anyway. And one of my favorite things is to do smaller frames within frames that kind of overlap. So what I'm going to do down here in the corner because this is going to be our next thing that we do, is Lloyd's hand is going to be coming through and grabbing a handle right here in this little box. Okay? It's actually so fucking cool. Oh! That's nifty. It just shows you, okay. We are learning all sorts of things tonight, folks. I'm going to bring this all the way up here so we're drawing where we want to be. That is so cool. Forgive my little geek moment there. This is 100% me playing around with a new function on my program, so it's going to be a little fun. So one of the things that I also got asked about today was camera angle. It was specific towards the human body, and we will be getting to that on the next page. This particular page is more for your establishing shot with comics and for moving in to zoom in. One of the tricky things with comics is you do kind of have to think like a director or think like a cameraman. You have to think about where your quote-unquote camera is. You can't just, head-on images all the time. Okay? So now we're going to do everyone's favorite thing to do, and we're going to find a reference of Kryptarium Prison. I really need to have me some like montage music or something for whenever I have to find reference pictures. That's the bitch.
What? Like you asked me that like how many days after I sent you that link.
Why did I think Kryptarium was like this the kiln from... Not the kiln. What's the prison in Marvel that's like a big gray monolith? It was at the end of Winter Soldier. Where did they have them at the end of... No, at the end of Civil War. It was at the end of Civil War. What's that prison?
I didn't see that one.
Because that's legit what I had in my mind of Kryptarium. And definitely not this. This kind of looks like
you can draw it however you want. Because if you recall, it's just that if you recall, it looks like that.
Yeah, like I pull up a reference, and that's like the one that comes up, and it's a wide shot that I recognize, and we're definitely gonna rip that off. I'm sorry, everyone, but that's what we're gonna do. That's exactly what I mean by an establishing shot. But yeah, it does not look like... Why did I think of like this huge gray monolith in my mind? I think I've read too much DC.
It's just been a while. I mean, what episode is that from?
Looking at it, I don't know. I mean, the first time we see Kryptarium is season 7, right?
No. And that's when they all got arrested.
Oh, I always get 6 and 7 mixed up. Yeah, you're right. It's season 6. But I don't know if we saw this. I don't know when this establishing shot is from.
I guess, judging by what I saw of it from the stream, since the stream is a little behind us, it looks like it's got that lighting from season 6. If that makes any sense.
No, season 6, the color grading was all oranges, and it was definitely... It was meant to kind of contrast with Jay's blue. Or at least I'm going to go with that option, and we're going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
What we're going to do is we're going to pretend like it was purposeful. Like, yes. Totally.
It was definitely to contrast with Jay's blue. No other reason. None.
It wasn't just because they wanted to, like, make it look cool.
Hey, that is 80% of color theory, okay? Is making shit look cool. But yeah, we're gonna just... And one thing about, like, this, I'm not doing thumbnails. Thumbnails are whenever you basically work on something this teeny tiny just to kind of get an idea of where things are. I'm lazy. I don't like doing thumbnails for stuff like this. And so we're just going to draw out basic sketches that are going to be drawn on later to become something cool.
Nice.
Why did I grab the pen? We're working in pencil right now. Keep your tools consistent, y'all.
I remember, I think part of the reason why it took me so long to watch season 7 is that watching it, it felt, no offense to the animators, but it felt like a downgrade.
Well, and here's the hard part.
For animation, I mean.
Yeah. Well, and here's the hard
It's
part. Like season 6's appeal is the color grading. You know, regardless of the reasoning behind it, it did highlight the character that it was supposed to, you know?
And it just looked better.
I admit, I have not watched 6 or 7 in so long because my favorite season, like 3 through 5 and then 8 onward because I'm edgy as all hell.
No shame there. No shame there.
Listen, if you haven't picked up on the edge by now, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Hi, Cyber! I'm sorry, I did not see when your comment came through. Hello! We are talking about comic book layouts right now.
Hello!
Yeah, no, I'm edgy as all hell, and if nobody's picked up on that by now from the blog, well then, I just really need to step up my game. Stab a ninja again.
You're gonna stab like Echo somehow. Oh wait, no. If you do you do what I just sent you in Discord, you're gonna stab like Zane and Jay.
See, guys, it is not 100% sends me this stuff. How am I supposed to say no? So I'm going to spout some stuff at you guys that is going to be half BS and half 100% intentional. So earlier I talked about rule of thirds. Again, rule of thirds here. This whole side right here and this whole side right here are on the thirds. We want to focus in. And so those 2/3 are going to be very uniform or whatever, but they're also going to kind of block the prison imposing. Because this is, you know, Lloyd's fight with his dad, and it's going to be some bad shit. Mel, I have a story to tell you later whenever I'm not on the internet.
How will you tell me if we're not on?
Well, not like speaking live on the internet for all the people to see. Sarcastic person.
I know what you meant.
Now the real challenge is going to be, is there an interior shot of Cryptarian Prison that I can easily find on the interwebs? We're going to check the fandom wiki and see if there's anything.
The indoor is what people know. I mean, you had that. There was that whole scene in like the 3rd or 4th episode of Skybound. Trying to escape, and it was this big thing where they were in. It was the whole episode where they were stuck in the prison, and they had to map out how they were going to get out, and then do the reference because of cars.
No, I wanted to look at the picture. Okay, so they have an interior shot of the actual, like, center where this fight's gonna happen. And they have interior shots of the cells. Nowhere on this whole wiki does it have an interior shot of the fucking hallway.
You might have to pull up the episode where they escaped then. The hallway, it's just an empty hallway.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping to, like, get a door or something, but I guess all the doors are just cell doors, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hey, Coin Cake.
I can't.
Yes,
I can't
I am
argue.
drawing Cryptarium. So for everybody who's just now showing up, what we're doing is we're going over comic book layout, and we're working on the script for the Crossing the Line animatic that Mel and I did last year. In some bizarre fever dream driven by procrastination, and I would argue a little bit of spite, but mostly happiness.
Look, we just wanted Ice Emperor Zane to be angry than it was, and also the second part of the comic was totally into the anticlimax that was the finale.
Listen, okay? I wanted a showdown. I wanted it to live up to name, and while venting to Mel, she was like, let's do the thing. And I said, yes.
Like, it's called Fire and Ice. Don't have the fire and the ice fight.
Come on,
Ever?
people. It's a very lazy hallway.
Like you know those like spinner sets that you can buy separately.
Yes.
Well, so again, like biggest missed opportunity was there was a big $20 Spinjitzu Slam set that was Forbidden Spinjitzu Kai, like a special form of it, show clearly, and some random ice goon. Maybe it was Vex. I'm not sure.
I think it was.
It's just like, why Kai versus the Ice Emperor for that set? It would make so much more sense.
I know.
And also, like, what was it? Like with the toy, it's so funny because with the toys you could clearly tell like concepts got cut. Like Kai and Lloyd had two separate special Spinjitzu form or Forbidden Spinjitzu form.
Well, and that's the thing. I would love to have been a fly on the wall in production because I kind of want to see what happened there, you know?
It's like we only know what they tell us on Twitter. Like how I remember it was either Tommy or the new writer guy. Liver was originally going to be the person that was powering Prime Empire, and you just sit there on your knees like, why the
fuck keep that? Now I'm sad.
I don't need to hear about all the writer stuff, and it's just like, why? Why did you cut this? Why? Why was he then?
You know, if Day of the Departed was a season, Mora would have gotten an honest-to-God redemption arc.
Oh, it would have been glorious. Are you kidding? I would have died.
Would have been so good. What I'm doing right now is I think it's setting tones and all of that right now. And this is to kind of help us get the idea of what we want comic feel to be.
I was just gonna add that Dunn would have totally shown up too because of how many sets he had for Day of the Departed, despite not being in the special at all.
You know, there was some wonky stuff going on.
Well, I think they acknowledged the fact that nobody would know about Nautocon's thing, so why would it be in the History Museum?
Yeah.
It's like they acknowledged that, like, in production, but not before the toys were made. Which is good, because otherwise we wouldn't have gotten the Lighthouse set. And without the Lighthouse set, we would not have Echo.
I love Echo so much. I can't wait to break his heart.
You can't wait to what?
Break.
Haven't you already done that?
Not enough. So this is very, very messy stuff, but trust me whenever I say it does kind of help to get your thoughts together and go, okay, this is the lighter part, this is going to be darker, all these. Did I say something bad? I don't think I said anything bad. I've got the comments pulled up.
at the comments and I'm like, what's the bad thing? Or I don't see.
Well, no, the little, fuck that's kind of trailing off there. Are y'all worried about Echo?
I think I need to reload the stream.
Oh, is it not showing up for you?
Oh, yep, now it's there.
Oh,
I just
okay,
had to
there
do
it
some
is.
stuff. Please have. Sure, we have like multiple reviews to do.
Oh, I'm so sorry, but if you love Echo, I mean, maybe I think you'll like the story.
Apologizing. What I have so far is fairly positive.
It really is. I just haven't, sat down and figured out how to fuck it up yet. Granted, isolation.
It's the ending.
Okay, so now we can kind of zoom out from this and see what would have been a thumbnail, and we can kind of see how the tone is. This is fun, establishing shot kind of comic. We're going to open this up, we're going to do another comic. Same dimensions and all of that. We're going to do this fun feature that I'm with. I will be upfront with y'all. And we're going to take a look at the next script, which is Lloyd's going to bust in and see his dad and take off his mask. Okay? He's not going to draw his weapon. He's just going to come in, take off his mask, and if we get there, Garmadon's going to turn around to see him. Flying by the seat of my pants here. Oh snap, what's that? I just got another ask about isolation. I might do a double update tonight if therapy goes well. Okay. So we've already done an establishing shot. We're going to kind of bust things up a little bit. What I want to do is a fun balance between Lloyd and his dad. So we're going to have Lloyd come in and this one up here. Hi, Potato! We're going over comic books right now and comic layouts. So we're going to have Lloyd up here in this one, and we're going to have Garmadon down here. And I should probably draw there we go. Let's see. Now to kind of, how are we going to do this? I've got a better idea. I'm going to make it more squarish. That's the other thing. If you have a better idea, try the better idea. Do not be afraid to start over. I like to do fun comic panels like this where it's a little bit different than the normal layout or whatever, because it breaks stuff up. It keeps you interested. So we're gonna come in here with Lloyd, looking forward like this. So talking about the camera angles and angles of the human body, it is really hard. It's something that takes practice, like a lot of what I do on here. Practice is what's going to be your end on this stuff. And for right here, this particular scene, what we're focusing on is Lloyd seeing his dad. So the first thing that we want to focus on is Lloyd's actual face, because right now we're looking at this through Lloyd. So his reaction is what we're going to see first. And so that's why his face is up close here. When drawing for Western audiences, we read left to right, top to bottom. So if you want something to be seen first, you put it in the top left of your page. Same thing, if he's seen last, like we want Garmadon to be seen last, he's going to get put in the bottom right. This gets mirrored if you're drawing for audiences that read right to left. But honestly, it's not a very difficult thing to wrap your head around. You've seen comic books. You've seen how we organize books. Organize your comic book like if you were organizing a book for that. Maybe next year what I'll do is I'll just do a throwback picture and see how, or throwback comic with the Zangst one, and see how different things are.
Ooh,
Like, that would be so much fun.
See how much the artist has evolved.
Yeah. Hold on. So we want Lloyd to be taking off his mask in this picture. And one of the things that I failed to do was put his hand somewhere where it would make sense. So if he's pulling off his mask, that's going to be right hand. This is going to be a really fun thing to draw with stupid thumb. God, I hate thumbs. She says that she uses her thumbs every single day.
You need...
Possibly.
How then you can't hold your pencil? Or whatever you use to draw.
See, that just makes me want to try doing this without a thumb. I'll show you who needs a thumb. And again, these are just basic sketches, so they don't have to, I just like for my hands to be mostly drawn out. So one rule that there is, and I'm going to open a new thing real quick to talk about it. There's this rule of 100. You hear about it whenever people talk about comics, you hear it whenever people talk about movies, and it's essentially this camera rule of how we introduce characters and how we use characters on screen. I'm going to say that this line is our fourth wall. This is our TV screen. This is what we're looking at. Character A is going to be right here. Character B is going to be right here. So whenever we introduce them, if character A is on the right over here, and character B is on the left over here, and character B is on the right, the rule of 180 degrees says the camera can be anywhere along this 180 degree line on this side. However, we can't bring the camera over here because that disrupts what we're seeing, okay? There are exceptions to every rule. I've told people one of the biggest reasons that Nothing Left to Lose of mine from Tangled is because of the camera pan around the characters. But the thing is, the reason that is so cool is because it's used sparingly. So that's what rule of 180 degrees is, and it will keep consistency, especially with conversations in comics and in film. That said, we're introducing Garmadon on the right. That's what we're keeping.
Well said.
I'm going to keep pretending like I've taken film classes before, and this isn't just some like weird obsession I've had over the past 8 years.
You got this. I trust you.
Oh, thanks. So another questions that I've got today is how do I do shoulders? Because shoulders are frustrating. They really are. And you want to know why? It's because we think they're sloped downwards because of the muscles around them, when in reality they are pretty much straight out. They are T-posing at all times, except muscles lie to us. Okay? So you can kind of see here with Garmadon how we're seeing the tops of his shoulders here, and how I've drawn, again, my necks are really long, so keep that in mind. But that's why I draw this little circle here, and then draw out this, because it helps me keep my shoulders straight and keep them from sloping down too much. That slope actually comes from this muscle right here, which is technically, I think it's what, the trapezius? Is that what that muscle is? Shit, I don't know.
I have no idea.
I think it is. It's been a long time since I took anatomy, but we're going to call it that. I could be very wrong. I just want to preface that. I could be very wrong, but I think that's the trapezius. And that is what tricks us into thinking that shoulders slope downward, is because of these little muscles that sit right there and help us hold our head up. They connect into the neck, and they're also part of what makes the neck feel so long, is we have, our neck, and the Adam's apple comes down to meet our collarbone, which sits up on our chest. And then from the back, the trapezius kind of helps the neck stretch out a little bit. And it's definitely a large part of why my long. Still working on that. Also, if you, like me, are wearing helmets, sketch those bitches out in your comics, in your rough drafts, so that you know, hey, you're going to have to draw a comic, or you're going to have to draw a helmet here. It's going to suck. You're going to be mad the whole time. It is okay to cuss out the paper. I am 100% for cussing out paper. Just make sure, you're not cussing in front of people who don't need to be cussed in front of, okay? You know what that distinction is. Don't pretend that you don't. So now we've got a fun thing where Lloyd's coming in from the left, Garmadon's looking in from the right, and it's going to be really fun. We're going to draw a little spotlight thing. I don't know why, but I keep thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh! Whenever I think of this concept of like these two characters coming into this ring. And again, we've got a... I've never watched Yu-Gi-Oh! In my life, but I'm sitting here being like, yes, it's time to duel.
Like every shonen action show does this.
I'm sitting here and I'm just like, it is time for a ring.
Say it.
I'm not gonna say it!
You have to.
Hey, everybody, shout out to Starslinger because he helped me get set up on my new screen program from shaking the camera all over the place and making people motion sick. He is 100% the reason I am able to do this. So shout out to that guy. He's awesome.
Good job. It's time to do.
I'm not going to say it. I said it once. That's all you get.
I think the reason why it's just Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, totally took it to the biggest extreme. For the dramatic poses, for the showdowns, versus... At least that's what I think. It's just the character designs in that show. It makes the card games very memorable.
Listen, man, I was a Pokemon kid, So y'all remember my rule of 180 degrees? You notice how even though we're technically behind Lloyd, he's still on the left-hand side of the screen? We're going to keep that. And we're also going to keep a fun spotlight because you know these dramatic people. Somebody get this family a therapist. These dramatic people definitely had like a whole... I haven't watched this episode in like 4 months, but I know that that's what happened. Painting a jean jacket. Actually, no. Simply, then here's the thing. I live in Texas, and there are jean jackets everywhere. Growing up, and again, being in West Texas, I'm a girl. It took a really long time for people to be cool with me wearing just tank tops or spaghetti straps, and Mom's solution to everything was throw a jean jacket over it. So I've kind of got like this aversion to jean jackets. I'm much more of a punk. I prefer leather jackets, which I might consider painting a leather one or somebody else if the opportunity presented itself, but I'm not one to paint and wear a jean jacket for me. All right, there we go. So y'all can still kind of see how we've got like this really nice solid layout. Armadad. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Honestly, like, all the things that I say, take with a grain of I love and respect my mother a ton. And she's not doing the things that she does because she thinks anything very much is just a product of the culture that we're in down here. And it's just a side effect of being here, you know? If it's one thing to say, well, she shouldn't do that, and you should be able to do X, Y, Z, but also remember that, like, I live down here too, and as much as I say I should be able to do X, Y, Z, still a part of me that is very much like, well, people are going to stare at me weird if I don't throw something on under or over this. I don't like wearing short dresses, and that is personal preference from me, and how much of that is living where I do, you know? I guess whatever this is, highlights, lowlights, I don't know. I just know that it helps me to know what colors I want where, or what shadows I want where.
This is so cool.
It's so fun. Like, I feel like I haven't done a comic in, like, forever.
It has been a while.
Hey, Blake, what's up? Somebody just realized what scene this is. I feel evil.
Oh. There is some sympathy. Some.
I feel none.
You feel nothing?
I feel ning but joy. So anyway, back into this. We've gone over shoulders. We've gone over different panels that we can use in comics, and more of the tone grading and all of that. I'm going to keep making up words until our actual term is for that. Just know whenever I say something completely random, I am referring to the different purple tones that I keep tossing on here. What else did we have that we were going to look at? We went over the rule of 180 degrees. Everybody needs to know. We've talked about layout. We've talked a little bit about scripts. I'm now realizing this before a lot of you guys tuned in. Basic idea is if you're going to be writing scripts, you also need to be thinking visually. It is writing like you're reading a novel. Writing like a book is not the same as writing a script. You can still work with it. I work with it all the time. That's 99% of what Mel and I do is make a fanfic and then make a bunch of pictures for it. But if you're writing a script with the intent of making a comic, it is not going to be like drawing a fanfiction. You need to specify, here's our opening shot. Character A is going to move from here to here while doing all this stuff. So that's the big thing about scripts. And when on a script, you do want to kind of consider pacing, because if you don't consider pacing, your comic book artist will consider pacing for you. And they will take great glee in doing so, but if you want more of that creative control, keep that in mind whenever writing your script. So we talked about hands, posing, and mermaids. Let's move into the next part of this. Where's my custom square? I really should save that as a preset. I like drawing on squares. Okay, custom square, here we go. Oh yeah, so movie scripts are very similar. The biggest difference, in my opinion, is really just you're going to be tossing in added sound effects, and just you have to think from the idea of you don't get any audio with this. You get plenty of words, you get plenty of visual stuff. You don't get any type of sound effects that are actually heard. You have to write everything out. Hello, May. What's up? I draw ninjas. Okay. What were we talking about? Posing and hands and mermaids, because somebody wanted to know how to draw mermaid tails.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is great, because, you know, I am so scientific with my mermaid tails.
You are?
No, I am not by any stretch. I just throw fins wherever I think it would look cool. So let's talk first about hands, and specifically is holding weapons. Because, aw, thanks, you're the best. Because, you know, if you're going to be drawing ninjas, if you're going to be doing stuff, they can only punch and kick so many times. They're going to start holding some weapons. I effing love Clip Studio Paint. I upgraded for whenever I had to replace my tablet, and I'm never going back. Alright, so what are some of the weapons that we have seen in the show? We've seen all sorts of things. Yeah. Very messily drawn katana for Kai. We've seen Zane use shurikens. We've seen Jay use nunchucks. Oh yeah, fuck hands. Like really, it's 100% fuck hands. But unfortunately, they are a fact of life for all of us. Screw the thumb. If one day y'all see a video of me and it's just a collection of me doing shit without using my thumb, know that it was because of this video.
I will save that future video.
Another thing we've seen Cole use is a scythe. That's the word. That's the word I was looking for. Cool. Alright, so of these weapons, luckily, a lot of these are going to use the same basic look for grabbing onto them. You know, because you can wrap your hand around a cylinder only so many different kinds of ways. So that's a good thing. It'll be stuff like shurikens or whatever. What are the things that Raphael uses? Mel?
Size.
Like this little bastard right here. Be a weird hand shape. So once you get good at drawing these particular things and knowing how they work, then you'll start to move into, you know, how the hell does one hold a shuriken? How the hell does one hold a sai? Jay, what are you doing with a kusarigama now? You're nunchucks. But, you know, whatever. So we're going to talk about that real quick. So the first thing is, with a lot of these weapons, they are basically a cylinder. Which means that you're going to hold them a certain way. Now, no, you are not going to hold on to the side the same way you hold on to a handrail. That is not how this is going to work. I'm going to ignore that you wrote that, Nintendo. Okay? I'm going to ignore that. It's not just a fork. Fucking fork. Okay. So you're not going to hold on to this like you would a handrail. You have to remember that even though you are holding it, you're not just going to be, you know, putting a hand. You need to actually have control. So that's going to be a bit different of a thing. I'm going to actually take this and I'm going to turn it because that makes me happy and it's way easier to hold. You guys are going to stress me the fuck out. Don't validate him. He knows what he did. Are you guys having fork discourse in my goddamn comments?
I do believe they are.
Son of a fucking bitch. Okay. So we're gonna have this be just, you know, holding out a weapon to where it is pointing this way. And what I tend to do first is I tend to draw the thumb. Now I am going to draw through this guy, so we know what we're looking at. So whenever you have a character holding out a sword, that's typically going to, the hilt is going to rest against the inside of their wrist. And the only reason I say this is because, oddly enough, I have LARPed before with dual swords. I know how this works.
So I'm sorry I keep interrupting you. This sounded like so much fun. I've always wanted to LARP.
Oh, it's great. My uncle, who looks like this giant Hispanic lumberjack, taught me how to use dual swords and a spear. Showed up to Comic-Con that day, and they were not ready.
So wait, you were dual swords and a spear? So did you, like, switch off being Leonardo and Donatello?
Actually, yes. Did you know with the spear, like, you don't have to just throw it at people. If you have a spear, your biggest advantage is to very quickly lunge and pull it back in such a way that you can immediately lunge again. The only thing you have to watch out for is people who know how to actually hold it down with one weapon and come at you with the other.
Rena.
Yeah.
Battle tactics forever.
Okay, so...
Wait, does Nia have a lance? Is that what we call it?
A lance,
spear?
or
Or
possibly a naginata. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I had this like weapons obsession for like 2 months in high school, and I just searched up a bunch of different weapons, and I found one that was specifically and it was essentially a pole arm, like a lance or a spear, and it had a very pretty blade on it.
Ooh.
Sierra
I was just
Coca.
wondering because I'm trying to figure out what would Echo's weapon be.
Ooh, Echo.
Does anybody have size yet in Ninjago?
But wait, Mel.
But would that really fit?
Mel, the AU, he would definitely use fans.
Well, yeah, I mean fans, but does he have to?
You don't like fans?
No, I like fans. I'm just trying to get a little more creative.
Oh, I feel ya. So, like,
You know,
most of these weapons...
like the obvious go-to.
Yeah. Most of these weapons are basically cylinder. So it's going to hold them like this, or if we switch it around to the other side cylinder, your hand's going to look kind of like this. And this is actually my preferred way to draw it, because then I don't have to think. Hands themselves are not hard. Fingers are what's hard. So most weapons are going to be held like this in some way, and that's kind of going to get you pretty far. That'll get you pretty far with Jay, Kai, Lloyd, Cole. Yes, even with hammer, it's still a fucking pole arm thing, so it's still going to use a cylinder. The real challenge comes from effing Zane and his goddamn shurikens.
Oh, Zane.
And no, I don't think there are any size that I've seen.
I know they've been included with sets, but I don't think any of the ninja have been assigned to use them.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever been like an actual assignment. I think it's more of a, well, you're a ninja, this is a ninja weapon. Oh, on feet. I will happily show people my strategies for drawing feet, but like, God be with you, man. I have no idea what I'm doing.
What if Echo just had a bat?
Hair's the best! That's why I like drawing Jay's hair. It's so fucking curly, and Cole's is floofy as fuck. So whenever I'm feeling fancy, I tend to just draw the shurikens like the knuckles, like this. Where kind of one finger comes up like this and the other one is in. That's the wrong eraser. I've got a new setup and it's tripping me out. Fucking love Cole's hair. I drew a little Cole yesterday and he was adorable.
He was. Wait, have you posted that yet?
I don't think I have. I think I kind of wanted to wait until I had Zane, you know? Because I don't care if he's a Ninjroid. I'm drawing a baby Zane and it's going to be adorable. And Lloyd. I should probably draw baby Lloyd too.
Can it be when he gets his sweatshirt?
If by drawing a little toddler Lloyd in like this huge skeleton hoodie, yes.
Well, okay, what if... Okay, actually, here's an idea. What if, like, little toddler Lloyd was, like, finger painting with it? And that's why skeletons and the number 5 on it.
That is adorable!
Yeah, he just wants to look like his daddy.
That's...
Even though he has no idea what he looks like.
Okay, if I firmly stand on the headcanon that Garmadon visited via shadows. Like growing up.
Oh my god!
I firmly stand on that, where like anytime Lloyd tried to mention it's somebody, they thought he was talking about like an imaginary friend that he made up to replace his dad, but it was still definitely Garmadon showing up and like basically shadow puppets with his kid. You
know there was at least one point where he like appeared behind when Lloyd was backed up against a wall as like a giant shadow to scare everybody away.
Yes! You cannot tell me Garmadon cared that much for his kid, and he didn't figure some way to interact with him for 8 years? You kidding me? This is Garmadad we're talking about.
Beat up Kai?
Hmm?
Wasn't Garmadon able to beat up Kai with his shadow?
He sure the fuck was. If you think Shadow Garm didn't steal candy for Lloyd on the regular... So yeah, Garmadad, he shows up and plays shadow puppets with his kid. That is definitely something that happened. So let's see, we talked about shurikens. The shurikens are actually really small, and screw the little Lego minifigure appearances and their little claw hands for making them look so big. It throws me off every time. Yes, I know logically they're super small, but on the minifigures they don't look small. Let's go back over here. And then with the Kusarigama, why did I say Kusarigama? With the size, we're just going to zoom in here. And I'm going to make this a little smaller so I can draw better on here. With the size, I don't actually know how to correctly hold a sai. So you are going to have to bear with me as I draw an approximation here. That is just so sad. Okay. So we know that our thumb's going to come up around here. We're going to have our first finger is going to come up here. Middle finger is going to come here, which leaves our other two fingers to kind of curl in right here. And I think that is more or less how you hold a sai back, and it looks really sad, which is why we're going to show it from the front, so I feel better about how this page looks. So again, we've got this thing, and this is one of those times where hold up your own hand and use it as a reference. Simplify, work with what you got. Just very weird. No wonder they gave this to the turtles with only 3 fingers.
So, like, Raph didn't always hold it, you know?
Oh yeah, sometimes he does the cylinder grip thing. that's basically hands and weapons. And now we can talk about the fun stuff, which is Mermaid Tails. Mermaid Tails? What? I mean, some of you guys have seen the mermaid stuff. What tales have y'all really enjoyed from Mermaid? Me too, Mel. If there's a tale that you think was just fantastic, let me know.
Well, you know I loved Moro's.
Oh yeah, his little poncho tail.
I think Kai's was nice too. Oh, and Nia. I really like Nia.
Nia was so effing pretty. I appreciate that. So I basically draw, let me think, three kinds of mermaid tails. How do mermaid tails bend? So that really, mermaid tails are fun because they are completely up to your imagination. There will be people who prefer to take a more biologically realistic approach to them, and that is their own prerogative. And I applaud them for their eye to detail and anatomical knowledge. I am not necessarily those people. I draw what looks cool in my brain. So mermaid tails, what I tend to do is we're going to have our person. You're going to have a little and I tend to put the mermaid tail starting about right. I want it to feed naturally into this humanoid torso. What that means for me is it's not going to be able to just bend willy-nilly. It's more going to come out like if it were a spine. And it's going to have that kind of range of motion. So it can curl out like this. It'll have the kind of range of motion where I can go from about right here tends to be my limit to about right here. And have the basic, a little bit thicker from the waist where it comes out, and then taper off into a tail, into a tail fin. And that should give it the range of motion to let you do some fun things with posing without it looking completely, oh my god, somebody help him, he broke his back. Sharks. Ethan, I'm going to ignore that. Let's see. I tend to draw a few different types of mermaid tails. Moro's and Jay's poncho fin on his shoulders, which has been what I've really enjoyed about him. But Moro's and Jay's both look more like an eel, where there's this big fin that comes down the side. And Kai and Nia both have a tail that's got, in my mind, a little power to it. It's got a little bit more structure. Nia has a more powerful tail than her brother. And it's got this really big fan fin down at the end that can kind of spread out into really pretty thing. And she's got fins along her sides that also have, she's got really pretty fins along her sides that also have that bony support. I think it's ribbing called. I have such approximate knowledge of weird things. Nia's tail tends to look like. We're gonna add another layer. We're gonna on those. Kai's tail is a lot more flowy. So it comes out and it's got a little bit of support on either side. And then it comes down into the looser type of fin. It looks very pretty and it kind of folds in on itself like a curtain. And again, same for the ones that come out of his sides. He doesn't have that ribbing that Nia has. Lloyd is pretty similar to Kai. Wu has the eel tail to the extreme. He has a very, very long tail compared to everyone else in the AU. So those are about the different kinds that I do. Cole's tail's a little different. He's ribbing along his back, a fin that comes up out of his back, because he has a very powerful tail. But his does end up looking more like a dolphin. It's not as loose and flowy as Kai's. It is much stiffer. And then Zane straight up has a dolphin tail. A lot of people have started using lionfish, and I totally get why. The reason I don't is 100% personal preference. Lionfish are very detailed fish to draw, and I tend to, because I draw the ensemble so much, I don't go into lionfish very, very much. And because, again, I don't do as much drawing direct real life. A lot of people like to draw, Kai and Nia as beta fish, so they can do the red and the blue color of their tails. I just say fuck it and give them a tail. And you can do either which way. Both ways are fantastic. But yeah, you can also look up, lionfish or oarfish have been kind of in my public view lately. And you can look up whatever fish you want and put that tail onto the end of a person to do mermaids. That's the fun thing about drawing mythological creatures. You can do whatever you want. That's why I love mermaid so much. I can just do whatever. It's so much fun. So what else are we talking about? Talked about hands and mermaids and posing and all of that mess. Started about an hour, 15 minutes ago. See, and that's the thing, I don't do comics all the time. 90% of what I do is AUs over a period of time, and 90% of that is with Mel, because she's my partner in crime. She's the fucking shit. Love you.
Thank you, my friend.
So, I have gone pretty much all of my Tumblr prompts for today, which is actually super fun. Everybody who sent stuff in, whether you're able to listen now or you're going to be watching in 6 hours on your own time zone, thank you for sending in Tumblr asks. I really, really, really appreciate those. But now comments, is there something that y'all wanted me to go over today? Is there something y'all want me to go back to and explain more in depth? I should do comics more often, honestly. I just don't always have the time. Can you try that again? Your voice isn't coming through very well.
Oh, I was just saying, it's now that you're graduated, maybe. But that's a joke. I know you're just even more busy now.
What's the irony is I'm not even graduated yet, and I think so much of it is because I'm holding down 2 part-time jobs. Whenever I was in DC, it was very much the single, not quite full-time, but, not full-time, meaning I didn't go in on Fridays and I went in at 10 instead of 9 a.m., Having that job, you saw how much I was able to get done over the course of a weekend or in a night.
Hell yeah.
I'm convinced.
You did an animatic in 3 days.
3 fucking days! Granted, it was my very first one, and a lot since then, but still, that's amazing. 2 people interacting, hugging, fighting, etc. So, whenever you want to draw 2 people interacting, you, like May says, references. References are your best friend. Fucking love references. I tend to draw a lot from life. A lot of my poses that I do, hugs, teenagers, parents interacting with kids, all that kind of mushy stuff that I like drawing. So much of it is because I people watch. I have a very big family, which means I get to see a wide range of interactions anytime we get together. And they are people who are fully aware that I constantly have a sketchbook out and know they may not look at it. It's a fact of life now. I basically am part of the furniture whenever I do that. But I fully understand not everybody's able to do that. That's why the internet exists. If you're looking for pose references or you want to rip something off the internet and draw over it, one, Unsplash, Pixels, both are fantastic free use photos for you to use. They are free stock photos. The photographers upload those pictures themselves for you to use. They are 100% free. It's legal. It's ethical. You don't have to sit there wondering, is this picture actually okay for me to use? The answer is yes, if you get it from Unsplash or Pexels. But yeah, references are your very best friend. And moving forward from that, the other thing is, again, a knowledge of how the body works and a working ability to give yourself some shortcuts. My lines and circles construction is very much my shortcut. That is how I lay out stuff and make sure that I know how this is going to work. So I don't know, Mel, what kind of two-person pose do we want to do? Do we have anything fun that we can pull out of a vault and throw on there?
Do we have a what we can pull out of the vault?
Do we have like a fun moment we can pull out of the vault and just throw on the page?
What? So do they have to...
I prefer that, yeah, just full on going into some sort of interaction.
Well, I'm just trying to think of something for the Echo AU.
Oh, damn.
But he really just blows everybody away.
He really does. Don't touch me. Echo, don't touch me, Julian.
Well, maybe, what about Zane holding like a passed out Jay?
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So whenever character is interacting, again, have a working shortcut for yourself and be aware of how gravity works. Gravity is your best friend. Actually, no, gravity's not your best friend. Gravity will actively... The other thing that always helps me, like my shortcuts, whenever I draw this line here, what I typically mean is for it to be the spine. And that's why I say that, like, any type of anatomy knowledge is going to help you with this stuff. I took an anatomy class in high school as an elective because I wanted it to help with my... Oh, shit. Is the audio not coming through all right? Mel, is your audio coming through? Can you hear me? Oh, she's muted.
Sorry, I said BRB really quick because I had to leave to take care of something. Sorry,
you're fine. You're fine. Somebody on the comments, Cyber was saying that, like, the audio wasn't coming through for me for, like, a second. So I got a little worried.
Yeah, no, I'm fine now, though. I don't know. It cuts out sometimes, but not that often.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's just Discord being wonky and not anything with the stream.
Right, so random thing. I made it to Barnes and Noble today because they decided to open it.
Uh-huh.
and I got that next volume of Twilight Princess. Yay! Support your bookstores, people.
Yay! See you, May.
But it only has 2 chapters in it. It's like,
Oh yeah, they're gonna be. Yeah.
but like the past 5 have been like full. It's been like 4 chapters in the past like 5 books.
Is it the end or is it just the next one?
No, it's just the next one.
Weird.
The one after this is supposed to be out in early July, and I'm just like, is it going to be 1 chapter? Am I just buying an issue?
Oof, you might be. I wonder if the others weren't like collections or something.
I'm wondering if it had something to do with the release. I mean, this is a manga that was supposed to come out in 2006.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just annoyed because it's just like, what do you mean 2 chapters cost $10? Like, come on. This art is gorgeous. And we got Dark Link, yay.
I totally forgot that he showed up. And like, I forget every time I play the game that he shows up.
In Twilight Princess specifically?
Yeah. Like, you know, clearly he's going to show up. He plays a major role in Ocarina of Time, which I still have not played. But in Twilight Princess, I think the only time I see him in-game is as kind of a Easter egg cameo thing in some exposition.
Oh yeah, no, there's a full-on fight here with Dark Link and air fusing.
So this is my 2 people interacting. We've got a very worried Zane holding a not doing so hot Jay. The biggest thing with people interacting is A, gravity, and B, how they take up space. I guess that's volume, technically. I don't know. I haven't been in a science class in so long. But how things take up space will help you so much. So like if we zoom in here, and I'll make this a little lighter so I can go over it with something to show you. Jay's hair kind of spills over Zane's arm here, but not his actual head. His actual head is kind of getting cushioned here by Zane's arm, and it's going to sit right there. By letting his hair kind of come over it, over Zane's arm, we, 1, give there a little bit of depth there, and 2, it even kind of gives Jay's head a little bit of a weight as we can kind of see it resting against Zane's arm and everything. Plus, it's a really easy shortcut to not have to draw the face from a really frustrating angle. Yet another reason why I love characters with thick hair. So yeah, I think that's going to go ahead and take care of it for today, guys. It has been about an hour and a half, and I'm not going to lie, I'm having a little bit of a headache. Thank y'all so much for tuning in today. If you guys ever have art questions or y'all want an art question typically in one of these art class videos, and Tumblr is the place to ask that, okay? Send an Ask Box in. My Ask Box is usually open unless I am working through a boatload of prompts and requests. And if y'all ask it there and say, hey, for art class, could you please do this? Or could you please explain that? 100% it'll make it into a video unless it's, you know, appropriate. Like I said, try to keep it PG. But y'all have a good night, though.